YouTube model railroader fans. As I shake the bench as usual. I'm Ray. Of course, you all knew that. We're looking at Vlog 19. It's the 31st of May, 2015. Not a whole lot to go over. I thought about or forgotten something the other night that I wanted to share because I don't think I've actually talked about this one set of cars that I've got, and they are somewhat unique. But we'll get to that in a minute. As you guys all know, I've been working on the YouTube Model Builders Big Build contest. I went ahead and did some work the other night on the base, trying to change its color from gray to brown, so that way it wasn't so pungent. That gray was really, really dark. So I kind of lightened it up. The only unfortunate thing is, when I did that, some of my detail work disappeared, and I haven't gone ahead and done anything with the detail work yet. So, give me a second here. This thing is... There we go. One of these days I'll get this thing. Yay. Other things, not much. Like I said, I haven't been down here much. One thing that did come up, and I'm going to have to put together some pictures of what I've been working on as far as the rebuild. As I've stated before, and I will continue to state until things change, that, I'm in no way, shape, or form ready to do anything with this beast. But I want to be ready, when the time comes. So, I've been working on some plans. The most recent plan is going two-tiered. I'm actually going to go about 20 inches between decks. But I've come up with a different plan. Thanks to a fellow that I work with. And we were talking the other day over lunch, and I told him my conundrum with the helix. I said, a 36-inch helix in HO scale, 3-foot radius. I said, that is just, I don't have that kind of real estate. It's just too big. I said, so I'm going to have to figure out some other way of doing it. I said, I'm thinking about just running because we had talked about this, I think it was 2 or 3 vlogs ago now. I've lost track. Sorry. I've got a one-track mind and the train is gone, so it is what it is. But in all honesty, I told him, as you all well aware, I went ahead and went to a two-tiered, 2-track main, where on the lower level, where Boeville sits, there'll still be a passenger stop there. There'll still be 4 tracks underneath of there. 2 trains will be stopped, or actually, with the rebuild, probably 3 passenger trains will be stopped, because they're going to share the main line with the freight trains. And I'm going to probably put in some passing sidings and so on and so forth. I haven't gone to that length on the program that I've got yet. I've been trying to iron out all the other little details. I've got Boeville's yard in. I've got the 2 staging yards in. I've got the general idea. But then I came in with the problem, okay, so how do you get from one level to the other? And, of course, the obvious one was build a helix. Okay, well, like I said years ago, I had planned on going to 2-deck with this. And I originally had thought about using a 22-inch radius. Thus the reason why Newtown sits on basically a 5-foot square piece of real estate. But in talking with some folks over Facebook and YouTube, that's not going to work. They're saying that, with these railroads, you're probably going to be better off minimal radius 36. And I'm like I said earlier, 36-inch radius is just not going to happen. Not in this basement. It's just too much. So, like I said, I had some other ideas. One of them was going ahead and actually making a branch line that would circle the whole room and get up to the 2nd level. Great idea. The problem is now you've got 2 trains or whatever running for however long it's going to take to get from one deck to the other, and nobody's going to see them. You know, and I remembered seeing somebody years ago where they had actually scenic a small section of their helix just to make a town, just so that the train wasn't gone for, you know, an infinitesimal amount of time. Well, here again, that's all well and good, but that's not what I want. So I was like, okay, well, the helix is out. Going around the room is kind of like, you know, that's kind of stretching things a little bit. And a buddy of mine looked at me and went, well, have you ever seen the Batman movies? No, not really. Never really paid attention to him. He said, well, there's one where they have the car and it goes from a lower level to the upper level, and while it's doing it, it twists. An elevator. There's an idea. So what I'm in the process of drawing up now is a two-tiered elevator. Basically what it is while it's closed in the lower position, you can run the two loops without interruption. If you want to do an operating session, well, then you take the lower level, or, you know, the way it would, you know what? Yeah, it'll still work. I just had one of these brainstorms. Anyway, if a train on the lower level needs to get up to the upper level for an operating session, you just raise the whole thing and turn it. Same thing if you have a train on the upper level and you want to get to the lower level, you bring it down and you turn it. So it's like, there's a wonderful idea. Now I just have to figure out the engineering on it. And, you know, I've had some thoughts and some more ideas, and I've drawn them up, and basically what I'm thinking about doing is using, or would be using, the things that they use on garage doors. You know, instead of mounting them on the end of the door, mounting them this way and having the channels ride up this way, and those wheels would actually sit in that channel, and the bridge could just slide up and down. It gives me two things. One, it gives me an elevator. Two, it gives me a swing bridge. So I get away from the swing bridge that I've got now, and, you know, I can get into the pit just by opening the thing, or, like I said, I can raise it and lower it to get trains from the upper level to the lower level. So, lo and behold, so like I said, I've got some things I still have to work out, but I think this is going to function the way I want it to. We'll have to see how it plays out. But like I said, it's neither here nor there, because, you know, I'm just in no hurry to tear this monster apart and start redoing it. Number one. Number two, I don't have the funds to do it yet. So, and I know regardless it's going to take quite a bit of wood, and I do have some wood floating around down here, but it wouldn't be enough to do what I want to do. So, like I said, I'll have to, probably not on this vlog, maybe vlog 9 or vlog 20 in a couple of weeks or whenever I get to it. I'll go ahead and try and get those pictures together and get them up on here, and, you know, let everybody sit there and shoot holes through it. But this is the reason why we do these things, isn't it? You know, we sit here, we bounce ideas and discuss things, and you know, people, I'm sure somebody's probably tried something like that, or it hasn't worked for them, or, you know, maybe somebody did try it, and it's like, yeah, that's a great idea. It saves space, it gives you the operation opportunity and the whole 9 yards. So, you know, like I said, it gives me my two hidden yards, Richmond and Harrisburg. Richmond would be on the lower level, Harrisburg would be on the upper level. It gives me a lot of run time. I mean, by the time I get done with this thing, I think I figured that it'd be like 18 feet. You know, there would be 18 feet across the front, like 10 feet down the side, and then, you know, 8 feet across the back. So the trains are going to be, and of course I'm not going to be able to go any longer than 5 feet, which is fine. I mean, that's a pretty long, for me, since this is a branch line, a 5 foot long train in HO, that's a pretty decent train. You know, so, you know, it gives me three or four passenger cars. It gives me a fairly long freight train. So, I mean, at least give me that. And it gives me room to put other industries, which, with the way I wanted to do this thing before, I didn't have room for all the industries that I wanted. And, you know, going back, I remember videos years ago, oh, it's better just to go ahead and focus in on one type of industry and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's all well and good, but, you know, I'm trying to do a branch line here, and it's not like, you know, like all types of cars are going to actually stop on the railroad. They would be seen on the railroad. Case in point would be coal cars. I'm not actually going to sit here and have, you know, a coal mine sitting someplace and a, you know, a large steel mill sitting somewhere. No, that stuff's going to be off camera per se. You know, but there are other things. You know, I want a small logging industry or something like that. And the light industry, of course, I've already got some of the light industry, the farming industry. You know, so you know, it gets me just something to play around with. So, back to what I had started talking about before I went off on the tangent on the railroad. I've got a set of 3 cars here that are, I know, rather old, and I don't think I've actually discussed them on any of the other vlogs, and of course I'm already up to 11 minutes here, but I wanted to bring these up because of the fact of their age and what they are. Now, they're not actually scaled correctly, but you'll get the point. This here is, as you can tell, is painted up. Well, not painted up. It just has New Haven lettering on it. From what I know, this here was part of an American Flyer set. This is HO scale, and I'm hoping maybe somebody can kind of tell me if I'm wrong or tell me if I'm right. But this is the original coupling. Unfortunately, the one on this end broke. It's no longer there. And I haven't bothered looking for parts, but that's, I guess, some sort of a coach. And then this guy is an RPO. And it's the same type of thing. It's painted up or lettered for the New Haven. And what had happened is, years ago, the engine that my father had for this set didn't run very well, so he sold off the engine and bought something else. And I'm kind of interested to find out what was pulling these cars at one point. But as you can tell, this one here still has the old style coupler, but somebody, probably my dad, went through and put the horn hook on this end, so that way it could be pulled by the normal locomotives. And I mean, this thing is just, these things are so cool. I mean, they run rather well. They're lit, but I don't have them on the layout presently because I've got other passenger trains running at the moment. And not only that, but with the age of these things, I really don't need to run them. So, but like I said, if anybody can kind of point me in the right direction, if I'm actually, were actually American Flyer / AC Gilbert from way back when. Unfortunately, these are not marked in any way, shape, or form. I do know that they're, like I said, I do know that they're rather old. The funny thing of it is these cars kind of look like the Paradise Diner that's sitting over on the layout. So more than likely, these were American Flyer / AC Gilbert. But like I said, I'm just not 100% certain. I mean, I've even still got the old HO gauge track floating around here someplace with the freaking pins on the end of them. It was basically the 40-year precursor to Easy Track. I'll have to see if I can't find that track one of these days and pull that out. There's nostalgia for you. there's plain nostalgia for you. It's got the roadbed and the whole 9 yards, and it's got these pins, real sharp pins, man. It's like, yeah, this is good for kids. Yeah. So, but that's basically all I've got for an update, and I'm already up to 14.5 minutes, and we all know how YouTube and this goofy thing don't like to get along, so we all know the deal. Wait for the high ball, green tracks ahead. We'll catch you all next time. Have a good one.